Similar to what we're talking about the history of black people. It's being depressed.
Everybody from around the world is coming here, not just from
They're
one
coming
country.
here for a reason. But why are black people the low on the totem pole? When you look at the economics, black people, men and women, make on average $34,000 a year. Indian Americans make $100,000 a year. Why is that a difference? Now,
What are Indian Americans? Why do you keep saying Indian? You know that's mad disrespectful, right?
My daughter,
I don't know if you know that, but that's really disrespectful.
Y'all need to go back to Messy TikTok because y'all sound ignorant and y'all not versed and y'all don't understand the political optics of what's happening in the world. He said, stay on Messy TikTok.
Like I'm not finna down America. One y'all
Good morning,
saying
Manny.
the Mexicans deserve to be here. They was crying
So
about
real
quick.
I think that it's interesting how the conversation shifted from should there be statues that are showcasing the people who have oppressed individuals in this country, should that be showcased, should that be taken down or not, to now we're arguing what economic system is better. The reality is America has the biggest economic system. However, there is a lot of inequalities in the economic system, which does not make it efficient. Right? We have a big economy, but it is not an efficient one because there's too many. It's just too. I'm trying to figure out how to put it in a simple way.
There's no equality in the system.
They come to America.
Yeah, it's just too much going on, right? And so a better and when there's greed. And as to what I spoke to about the origination of how we even got to the Americas, how they colonized the Americas, created these colonies, and then deprived the Native Americans of their own land. We speak to how generationally, as to why we need to know history, why history is important, that there is a continuation of what they did to get here in the first place. So the greed is what had them colonize the Americas, what had them separate the lands and then decide they wanted to create their own laws and regulations upon class and structure based upon what they could not have in their own country where they were being oppressed at. So they took what was happening to them, did it to a group of individuals who were here, and then turn around and said that this is our land, this is what we do, this is our history, and completely graping the actual origination of what truly happened. Now, an example of an economy that is more efficient would be Switzerland, or like Drop said, Switzerland, Singapore, Germany, another Norway, Sweden, Finland, Japan. The reason why is because they're resourceful, they're efficient in their economy. It's easy to do business.
Rose.
It's easy to do business with these countries. It is more trade efficient. The government has effectiveness. They listen. They compromise. They know how to do business effectively. They're not greedy because they make sure that whatever it is that they produce in their country, they give it to their people. And then the people are taxed. Yes, higher tax in that country, which is why it tends to be more quote unquote expensive. However, they reap benefits of being more expensive in taxes. So yes, they pay more in tax, but guess what? They get healthcare, housing. The homeless people ain't as homeless as how it looks in America, right? The people get things for their taxes. We do not. We are great financially with paying less taxes, but we pay less taxes if we're rich, but we pay more taxes if we're poor, and being poor is more expensive than being rich in America.
I have a question for you, Rob.
Can I say that?
Bikini Fasa out of Africa.
But being poor in America isn't like being poor anywhere else in the world.
Can I ask
Like poor in America is rich in a lot of other countries.
That's true as well.
But look at how they get their wealth.
Hey, y'all should go back to Mexico then.
Can I have
Bikini
an
Fasa, which is a
question?
black man running the country out of Africa, is showing you guys the way. And if you guys
Can
will
I ask
follow
Rose a
him,
question and then we can go to Mufasa, Edwin, please? Rose, the question, I just had one quick question. That's what he said. He said Mufasa. I'll be listening.
He was trying to say Burkina Faso.
Hold on, Rose, let me ask you a question, though.
He was saying Burkina Faso.
Oh, okay. I thought you said Mufasa. Sorry. Okay. Rose, my question for you is yes, they like to tell us when it comes to economics, in the economy, America is greater, China is right under them. But how great, truly, honestly, when we look at it, not lying on paper and lying on our taxes, how great is the American economy, which is slightly above China? If we owe China trillions, wouldn't that make China the greatest economy because we are
Yes.
indebted to them?
Yes.
So that's the
Yes.
trickery.
So
That's the trickery.
the verbiage is the problem, right? So from an economic stance, when you speak to greatness, you speak to how large it is, right? As to why I
Spending power.
clarified,
We have the largest
right,
spending power. Our
right,
GDP. Our GDP.
right.
Right.
So
It's the GDP.
from great, if you type in, I know what's happening. So if you go to, let's say, Chat GPT, or you go to Google and you type in what's the greatest country, it'll say the US, because economically
Right.
the GPD would be greater, as in
GDP.
larger.
Yeah.
But the reality is the more efficient economies
Was it
is what needs to
China?
be typed in.
So that's
So
what I'm
no,
saying.
it's
So that's
not.
the question I'm
No.
asking.
It's not China. It's not China at all.
Well,
Yeah,
China
the
has the
GDP. Sorry, I said GPD.
second largest GDP.
Yeah,
So
the
and
GDP.
then
The
we
GDP.
owe China, and then we owe
No,
them trillions.
so the GDP is not what I'm referring to when it comes to efficiency. So you can have a large GDP all day long. How you spend your money and how you do this and that and your produce and how you're purchasing items, that has nothing to do with the efficiency of an economy. The efficiency
Well, the
determines.
greatness is determined by the GDP.
It depends. It depends
Let
on.
me explain. Let
Okay.
me explain. So your efficiency in an
I'm gonna let
economy,
Fab, the financial expert, continue because
well,
she understands my point.
I am not an expert. Don't say that.
okay.
I got a
So
question.
I'll let
Yes, you
the
Y'all don't
expert
is.
like,
speak.
hold on,
That's
Rose.
I'm
You
gonna
don't,
shut my
y'all don't like
Go ahead,
America.
Rose.
No, Rose, you
Y'all
It's
don't.
got a question.
crazy.
You
Hold
can't
on, Rose,
compare
you don't.
efficiency and
Hold on,
economy.
Because
hold on. You
yes,
don't
you
have to.
can. What?
Hold on, Rose.
Yeah, you can.
Yayi,
You
y'all,
can. You can.
let's allow Yayi to get in here just 1 second. Then we're gonna go
It's
back to
Van.
Rose to let
This
Rose
is
finish.
Van.
Oh,
It's
Van.
Van,
Oh, go ahead,
Danny.
Miss Van.
How you doing?
I'm doing
Okay,
good.
so I good. How's the panel this morning?
Good.
Hope you guys are doing
What's up,
well.
man?
So I just wanted to say, in regards to Rose and Drop, Fab, and Edwin, you guys are actually right. I'm going to touch on a little bit in traveling. So I travel. I'm a merchant marine. So I travel a lot. So the difference is why people do come over here is because of the dollar and the dollar. So what they do, they go ahead and work here, send the money home, build their houses so they can live like kings and queens and have money restored. At the time, the American dollar was the all around thing for everybody to do. People have certain reasons why they go different places. Now, coming to America, to the US, you're supposed to be already having at least 150,000 to be able to live in our economy. So, our people in America, we do not do that. So we allow them to come. However, if you go to any other country, you must have money in order to go over there. Just like if people come over here to work, they need a work visa. A work visa, they have to pay like 4 or 5 thousand to an agent, and then have 5 or 6 thousand to be over here to be able to work. Right, and then they can stay if they want to extend it for a year. I work with a lot of G1s, J1s, and work visas. And then if we go over there, we have to do the same. But it's more stricter and it's more harder for us to do it because they don't want us to come over there. However, when we do, we stay in our lane. Right? So at the end of the day, that's why people don't. And you need to know the laws, the bylaws, and the rules and the regulations because they're not so open as we are. Right? So at the end of the day, when you talk about different countries, you can go to Japan and teach the children how to speak English, and they will pay you good money for that. and you can live that way, or you can do or have online jobs. So that's a different kind of scenario on how things happen over there. Now you can go to Mexico and live in Mexico, but you cannot buy land or buy a house over there. Why? Because you're not Latino descent, unless you're leasing and doing it through the government. That's how that works. So when you talk about America being the greatest, America is known for going to different countries, different states, taking their knowledge and making it their own. We all have things that are embedded, right, in the world that our American people, who is our government, has done. So at the end of the day, you have to understand your history, and if you don't understand your history, you won't have a future. So I mean, and what the government is doing is resetting what they considered making America great again in the past. So I mean, I get and hear everything, but for the people that have less knowledge, you need more knowledge to understand, because they're trying to write us off. And at the end of the day, all of the science, all of the things of intelligence that black people have done a lot for the United States, for this country, right? And you're saying, oh, well, let it be, let it be. How are you going to let something be when you're the one who made it? We are the DNA of this damn United States. We are the DNA for it. And if you allow them to do that, I'm sorry, you need to be written off. That's all I came to say.
Thank you, Ms. Van. Can we go back to Rose? Rose, go ahead and finish, please.
So,
Hey, we get Rose, you hate America and other countries are great. We
Tell
get it.
your mom. Can you please allow her to finish?
it's strange to think that what's actually happening in the economy, you deem that to be hatred for America, when that's literally what's happening. Like, I'm not making this up. I'm literally taking the classes right now in college, actively right now, about this. This is not my own opinion. This is not how I feel. This is information you can look up, tools you can use. Okay. So the reason why I was saying there's a difference between saying that a country is greater in their economic stance than a country is being more efficient is because from a financial sense, the word greater just means bigger, larger, more spending power. It does not mean that it's efficient, though. So, for example, a way for me to break it down is you went to Navy Federal and you were able to get a $50,000 credit card. Most people know what that credit card looks like. It's a green credit card, right? You got spending power because of that credit card. The issue is that you don't have the money sitting in your bank account to be able to hard spend more than $30,000 on that credit card and drop it right back into the account. So do you have larger spending? Yes, I do. Why? Because I have a card where I can swipe it. However, the efficiency of me being able to pay it back is where the problem lies. So efficiently, the other countries that I spoke to, which were like Switzerland, Singapore, Germany, they have an efficiency in their economy. And in Europe has the largest economy. They manufacture and export goods. They have an exporting system. The U.S. has a few here and there, but it's not as valuable as Germany, for example, would be. That's all I'm saying.
I got you, Rose. And a lot of that, what you're saying, is true. But in terms of the world order, the problem is we do produce a lot, right? Our gross domestic product is our buying spending power, how much our country produces based on our jobs and taxation, right? But the problem lies because, unfortunately, like you were saying, we don't manufacture and export quite a lot besides arms. We're number one manufacturer in military and arms and some agricultural things. And so I do agree with you saying with that, but the efficiency part of it, when people look at the greatest country or economy, most times they're not looking at efficiency. Now, your way of life as a layman, as me and you, I would go, well, how efficient is my government in spending my dollars? How efficient are they in managing this budget? Because it's always a problem. While the military's budget keeps doubling and tripling, but things, what we value, right, in terms of education, Medicare, affordable housing, is displaced. We are not getting that part of the pie. So efficiency wise, I could, see how you get to that conclusion, because we do have a problem with efficiency here for sure.
America is getting that part of the pie. Look around the country, anywhere in the world.